Everybody, what's going on? How you doing? This is your man Rory T. Edwards. You're in tune to the Rory T. Edwards House Calls with Dr. Rory T. Edwards. We're gonna use the official title today. Dr. Rory T. Edwards on the show. And you know we've been doing sessions every week on Black History. And so this week I was really late. I'm late, but I'm here. Definitely. And today I want to talk about the future of Black excellence, right? And I want to let people know what it's like for blacks to be excellent? What does it take? How do you define excellence? How do you do all of that particular stuff? How do you find ways for you to be the greatest that you can possibly be? And even in my greatness, sometimes I have to defer. I have to defer. And today I am so blessed to have, I said, a special guest on today. And this is something that wasn't planned, but it is planned. It is planned. Now it's planned. And so, y'all can see my guest in the background now. He blew it. I was going to introduce him and not let people know who it was. But if you can't see, I'm getting ready to introduce him. But I got 3 questions for him. There's going to be 3 questions he's going to answer. Then I'm going to come back on and close it for you all. And if you all know about anything, I do have some connections in this world, right? So the first question I'm going to ask this gentleman is reflecting on the evolution of Black activism. How does that define and help us in the community, ending off Black history with being excellent? The second question is the intersection of sports, political, and racial justice, and how does that deal with how we define excellence in our community? And the third question is the advice for the next generation. And so, without further ado, I'm going to introduce my special guest. We're not going to do this like this. I'm just going to get up out the chair. He's going to get in the chair.
That's right.
But I want to introduce to y'all Dr. John Carlos. There you go.
Well, Rory, it's an honor to be here with you, man. God is good, because you never know. You said that we wasn't scheduling this and it just came about. But God has a tendency to put good people together to do good things. Man, I'm honored to be here. First of all, I want to give all thanks to God Almighty for getting me out the bed this morning. I'm getting old, but I see so many people falling like leaves off the tree. I'm just blessed to be here to give whatever exchange I can give to whoever's out there listening. Let's see, reflections on the evolution of Black activism. Okay, the evolution. Evolution means growth, right? I expanded forward. Well, when I sit back and think about the 60s, you have to think that 3 young men got up at the Olympic Games and made a public statement relative to humanity for the plight of Black people and people of color around the world. But yet and still you have to take into account that we're not the early ones to do this. We have, like Jack Johnson. We have Paul Robeson. We have Jackie Robinson. We have so many before us, Wilma Rudolph, Kwame Ties, Edith McGuire. We have so many individuals that was out there that were, let's say, trailblazers, you might say, that fought for justice and equality long time before we even knew about justice and equality for all of us inclusive. But then, we start to think to ourselves, boy, how hard it must have been for a person like Harriet Tubman, or a person like, Frederick Douglass, or my main man, God, my brain is gone. Forgive me, guys. There's so many people that I can call out. But I was thinking about those individuals that was the front runners that put their lives on the line and then realized that the people that they were putting their lives on the line for, certain individuals within that group, had them out on the plank and they hear this ripsaw sawing and they said, where's that sound coming from? And they looked behind them and the people that they was cheering the cause for freedom and justice and equality, they were back there sawing the plank for them to fall off into the ocean. I think about Nat Turner. That's the guy I was trying to think about earlier. Think about Nat Turner in terms of how many individuals that he tried to educate, to tell them that don't wait to be freed. You will never be freed if you wait. You have to free yourself, free your mind. And then to think that our own people, the man or the woman in the mirror is the one that betrayed them. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. We as black people have a tendency to sit back and talk about how long the white man has oppressed us, what he has done to us. For 500 years, we have a history of what has been done. But the question is not what he's done. The question now is what are we as black people, what are we doing? I can't express this man to free me, I have to free myself. And I've been trying to wake up so many others to make them realize that you have to free your soul, free your mind in order for you to be totally free. No different than what Harriet Tubman was fighting for, or Nat Turner, or Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey, Rosa Parks, Angela Davis, so forth and so on. So many individuals that stood out. But remember, we're just mere grains of sand on a beach. Those grains of sand can make a statement, but we can't make change until all the sand on the beach come together, until we come together as a people to make a statement. Relative to the current state, we still try and stay optimistic about what will come tomorrow. But yet and still, it's only a fragmented numbers that has serious commitment to making this a better society. A lot of young athletes, they want to get out and they want to make statements, they want to blow black, but they're doing it in the moment. It's almost like a fad. When Black Lives Matter came about, everybody in the NBA was wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts. And when Black Lives Matter took place with the demise of George Floyd, you sit back and think about everybody taking a knee. You sit back and think about the basketball games in colleges. People was taking a knee or they was putting their fist to the sky. But to find that it was all a fad, just a phase in their life. They didn't know anything about true commitment. And when I say true commitment, Rosa Parks was committed up from the time she sat in that bus until the time she died. Harriet Tubman was committed from the minute she chose to go and create this Underground Railroad until the time she died. Frederick Douglass stood for his independence and the growth of black people from the initial start until the time he died. John Carlos committed in 1968 to this day and will carry on until the time I die. But what still I'm trying to say is that the athletes of the day, or a lot of the young individuals today, they was in that fade. Now, all of a sudden, Black Lives Matter has passed. We don't know nothing about taking a knee. We don't know nothing about raising our fists. We don't know nothing about expressing our concern about the plight of black people in America. Particularly today when you see America is in a state that is in such a divide. And this guy that's running for office, that's trying to go back into office again, he done, warped the minds of many individual blacks now to think that this man is in your camp. Why I hear our kids talking about Trump is the man, Trump is the man. Why is Trump the man? Trump is about the money. I said, well, how much money did he put in your pocket? Yeah, they talk about what he gave the HBCUT big money. Well, I heard him make a promise, but I ain't seen nobody jumping over the fence talking about we got our check. So what I'm saying, guys, is that we have to be concerned about the small time that we have on this earth, and think about how we gonna make it a decent life for our kids and our kids' kids. That's what Mexico was all about. That's what Rosa Parks was all about. That's what John Lewis was all about. Andrew Young, Dr. King, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali. All of us is about trying to make it an even playing field to give our kids the freedom to be who they are and be successful in life. But as individuals, we can't do this. And that's what all those individuals that I just mentioned are individuals. But my concept is once we realize who we are with our strengths and the wisdom that God gave us, and we really put it together, then these individuals seem to come together into a powerful force. That's why they said black power. When they saw my fist in Mexico City, they thought it was the essence of black power. It was black power, but it was not black power in the sense of we out to destroy America, destroy anything. Black power is to unite ourselves, to make ourselves strong, to come together and put our petty differences on the side. Lay our egos outside the door when we have this equation, such an equation that's encompassing all of us. that we have to come together as one to solve this equation. So guys, I'm here today. God sent me here today, not merely to run my mouth, but to run my mouth in the sense that I'll drop so many things that maybe one thing will connect to your mind where you will start to think. My job in life was to spark you, to make you wake up and research who you are. My suggestion to any young individual out there, and some of you old individuals as well, my suggestion is not merely to get up like you've been doing for the last 15 or the last 50 years or 75 years, to go to the mirror and wash your face and brush your teeth and do your hair. My suggestion to you now in 2024 is to go to the mirror and actually take a look in the mirror and get in touch with the person in the mirror. Find out who that person is. Because you sit back and you think about certain things in life. I used to always use the metaphor, is that real or is that Memorex? Well, if you don't know who you are, and we have this new thing out now called AI, they're going to make it even more difficult for you to even realize who you are, because they're going to try and change your identity to the max. They're going to have you up saying certain things. They're going to have you up doing certain things. And you're going to be sitting at home saying, that's not me. I didn't say that. I didn't do that. But they're going to take control of you. They're going to take control of you across the board. And it's just like the computer. When the computer came out, all the white folks in the suburbs had computers. Black folks, we didn't have too much computers. We didn't have too much knowledge of computers. And our kids are just to the point now that we're just walking through the door in the school system where we're starting to receive computers. But AI is deeper than what the computer was. These things we have to be ready for. Our kids are going through school opposed to going to school. That's our responsibility as adults and parents, uncles and aunties, to make sure that our kids understand the value of education. If you have no knowledge, you can't go anywhere and do anything for anyone, much more self. But if you have knowledge, you can take that knowledge and go anywhere on planet Earth and be successful. It's just like that sponge. If you don't fill the sponge up and you happen to be riding across the desert and your car breaks down, you're in trouble. If you're living in life and run across this world and have nothing to offer to society, that's just like that dry sponge, you will not be successful. You cannot blame your lack of success on anyone else other than the man in the mirror. But once I stated, get in touch with the man in the mirror. Find out what he's about or what she's about. Find out your strengths. Find out your weaknesses. Try and resurrect your strength to overcome all of the weaknesses that you have. Show your kid direction. You know, when I say show your kid direction, I think about something that I saw years ago to show you how young kids look up to their parents in terms of what they do. I want to emulate my parents. And I remember one time that I saw a white fella in the park, and he had a blanket spread out on the grass, and he's sitting down with his kid, and they're under this tree, and he goes in his pocket and he pulls out a pack of cigarettes. He hit the pack and he pulls out a cigarette, put it in his mouth, gets the lighter, he fires it up, and the kid watching him. And he takes the cigarette, he put it down, he blows the cigarette and blows smoke. Then the kid reaches over and grabs the pack of cigarettes, pop it just like his father did, and he takes out a cigarette to put it in his mouth. So my essence to what I'm saying is, if a kid sees his father for whatever reason is going to jail because they trapped him into the juvenile justice system, or they trapped him into the state penitentiary or federal penitentiary, the kid looking at you in terms of, it's okay for me to be incarcerated for half my life because that's the way my father was. It's okay for me not to go to the playground and play basketball or play soccer or play baseball this weekend because I'm on the trip to go to the penitentiary to see my dad. Well, the thing is called association brings along assimilation. If I see my dad doing this where he's incarcerated for whatever reasons, I'm looking to grow up to be incarcerated too, because that's the thing to do. It's not the thing to do. Guys, someone sung a song years ago, I think it was the Temptation, they said in this song, listen to the clock on the wall. Well, it's a sand clock. The time is running out. You know, when they go back and they quote the Bible, they said the meek shall inherit the earth. Well, I've been looking around to see who's more meek than the blacks in America or the blacks in Africa or the blacks around the world. I don't see anybody more meek than us. Said we will inherit the earth, but the small print said, you don't know how long you're going to have it after you get it because you vacillated so long, you waited so long to move to receive the things and the gifts that the Creator had for us. He didn't have it in his hand. He said, I have it. All you have to do is rise up to come get it. I'm not going to bring it to you. Guys, it's time for us to step up. It's time for us to come and realize that we're that sleeping giant. It's necessary now. If we spark 10 kids out of 100 kids, we could do so much more. I don't want 50 years from now if we have athletes out there that's mega millionaires and they can't come together to merge together to create a school to find the brightest kids that we have, to put them through school, say, man, if you're in science, if you're in math, if you're in history, or you're in English, or whatever the case you may be in business, we would like to have you guys come to this school so we can get the best out of you, so we can create businesses that you can run and operate for us. Yes, we're the financiers, but we want to make sure that you're strong of mind and strong of education so you can run these businesses. But we have to come together to do this. In order to change society, change the world, we really have to come together because we are the true front runners in this society in which we live. Yeah, they buried us. They told us that we had no one, we've forgotten. But if you was to take the time and do the research, you will find that we were the first ones here on this planet. You'll find that we the ones that made all the history of the planet that we have today. You find it more and more every day that we did it thousands of years ago to build pyramids, to know the stars, astrology, to know how to survive when there's no means of survival. We survived everything. They've done everything to you and you're still here. There's a purpose for you still being here through all the trauma and ill ways that have been propagated towards you, hanging, lynching, tarring, feathering. You understand? Guys, listen to the clock on the wall. Thank you. God bless you. I hope you stay safe. I hope you stay sound. And most of all, I hope you progress straight ahead. Much love. Dr. Collins.
Okay, I told y'all I had a special guest today, and you don't get information like that usually at the cost of what it cost you today. All it cost you today was your attention to the situation and to the matters. And I don't have to say too much. I don't have to say too much because everything was said. How do we create the future of black excellence? I just want to leave you with one statement, something Dr. Carlos alluded to. We are very good at being maids, but not at all about keeping our own house tidy. So there's a statement that I want to share with you that I'm going to end on, and it says, "Why do we give our best to the rest, but forget to give our best to our best to receive the best?" Right? I'm gonna say that again. Why do we give our best to the rest, but forget to give our best to our best to receive the best? And then what we do is we complain about the outcomes of them. We complain about why they're not doing their best because we've given our best to the rest and we've allowed them to grow up by themselves. With that being said, I wish you all well on the last few days of Black History Month, but I want you to remember that Black History is just not a month. Black History is a lifetime, everyday lifetime journey, whether you're black or not. Black history is contributed so much to this world that every day you must celebrate the contributions of black people just as well as the contributions of anybody who has contributed to the outcomes of this world. All right,
Remember James Brown said, "Open the door and I'll get it myself."
Oh, James Brown, hear what he said? James Brown said, open the door and then get it himself. So that's all you have to do. If you have an opportunity, have keys to the door, open the door and let the people come in. All right? So with that being said, I appreciate you for joining today on House Calls with Dr. Rory T. Edwards. And I was so honored to have the presence of Dr. John Carlos today here with me. And so hopefully we can share this type of session. Thank you. Valerie, I appreciate you. Dr. Ingram, we appreciate you. And my sister, she has an amazing, if you're in New Britain, Connecticut, make sure you go down and support her store too. Two girls is now going to be a commodity that's going to provide great things for you. She actually did this for me too. So if you like this, you like what she's doing. Until we talk again, on behalf of the Rory T. Edwards Show, House Calls with Dr. Rory T. Edwards, and the great liberator, Dr. John Carlos, I want to say peace to all and ashe.